Flying from Honolulu to Washington's Dulles International Airport is just about as far as flying from Washington to Moscow. We'll cover almost 5,000 miles, cross 6 time zones, and partake in all that United Airlines offers on this marathon domestic flight. At nearly 9 hours, this would be the longest flight I've taken in 18 months. Will I remember how to do it?
Hello, Jet Setters. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. Right now, I'm in paradise, Honolulu. It doesn't get much better than this, but it's time to head home. Flying all the way to the East Coast with United Airlines to Dulles. Join me for this really long flight.
Welcome to the final leg of the Wilderness to Waikiki adventure, in which we're traveling from Alaska to Hawaii. We'd had a great time relaxing and soaking up the sun on Oahu after our time up north in the last frontier. Combining a trip to Alaska and Hawaii was an adventure of a lifetime that stretched my wardrobe and packing abilities. Leaving Hawaii is never easy, but the promise of United's first-class experience proved motivating. We'd been staying in Waikiki, so we hopped in an Uber to make our way back to the airport. We needed to get home to Greensboro, North Carolina, and were lucky enough, thanks to Suzanne's stash of United miles, to find 2 award tickets via Washington Dulles. Getting to the East Coast from Hawaii always involves a red-eye, and we were grateful to find an option with lay-flat seating and a longer flight duration to maximize sleep. But more about that later. The flight left around 6 p.m., about midnight on the East Coast, and was scheduled to arrive in Washington around 9 a.m., which is 3 a.m. in Hawaii. Passengers returning to the mainland, or Guam, have to put their baggage through a quick scanner for an agricultural inspection. It's painless, and if you pass, you'll even get this nice souvenir sticker. We checked in using the Premier Access line and were through the process in almost no time. I've always thought this backdrop was beautiful.
Look closely at that departures board, and what do you see? United 154 for Majuro. That's the Island Hopper. One of my favorite flights of all time. Absolutely loved that trip. I can't wait to do it again. I've done it 3 times, and it really feels like 4 is still not enough.
After quickly making our way through security, we decided to check out one of the airport's many gardens. Honolulu's airport is one of the most distinctive in the country. Its airside outdoor spaces make it easy to relax. As beautiful as these gardens are, it's easy to forget you're in an airport.
It's really cool how here at this airport they've blended airside and landside. It's almost like you can't even tell which side of the airport you're on, which is really nice. It's a relaxing way to enjoy the atmosphere here in Honolulu.
Not sure about you, but I still find it surprising to see Southwest offering service between islands. What do you think about this move? Unfortunately, not all the vendors have opened up here in Honolulu yet. We decided to head up to the United Lounge to relax and see some of the ramp action. Now, a first-class ticket, even all the way from Hawaii to the East Coast, does not grant access to this space. Instead, we purchased day passes for $59 apiece. It was a splurge, but we'd arrived more than 3 hours early and wanted to enjoy the unparalleled views this lounge offers. I do think it's unfortunate that a flight like this does not include lounge access, especially since other airlines have added it to some of their Hawaiian flights. Because we'd arrived so early, we had our pick of places to sit. The lounge did fill up as time went on, though. There were plenty of locally inspired dishes in the buffet. There was a full bar where you could also get soft drinks and coffee. The machines were turned off, and there were plenty of cups of noodles. Suzanne was very excited about the Dole Whip, but when she discovered I'd never tried it, she insisted I give it a go.
This is my first Dole Whip. This is actually Suzanne's Dole Whip. I've never had a Dole Whip. I don't even know what I guess it's pineapple ice cream. It's not my... It's not for me. It's not for me.
We were traveling on Independence Day in the United States, the 4th of July, and the lounge also offered hot dogs. A real highlight, of course, was seeing our 767-400 taxi in after its flight from Newark. The 767-400, whose cockpit shares more in common with the 777 than the 767, was not the commercial success Boeing had hoped. Only Delta, United, and the Bahrain Royal Flight operate the type today. United bases its 767-400s in Newark, so this airplane had come in from Newark to take us to Dulles before returning back here to Honolulu and then eventually return to Newark. Aircraft and crew planning, for that matter, not to mention route development, are utterly fascinating and unbelievably complicated aspects to running an airline. I think maybe there's a video in that somehow, but we'll see. Anyway, I can't be the only one who'd be happy just watching this all day. With international travel suppressed, U.S. carriers have added a lot of capacity to Hawaii. During our time in the lounge, we saw flights to and from nearly every major hub on the mainland. I'd really like to try the relatively new American Airlines service from here to Charlotte, in my home state of North Carolina. I welcome any opportunity to fly from the Aloha State all the way to the East Coast without stopping. We headed downstairs to get on board.
Boarding's delayed a bit. The announcement just came over the loudspeaker. They don't know how long it's going to be or really the reason why. Something about servicing the aircraft. So hopefully it's a short delay. I'll keep you posted.
Waiting's for the birds, but we did it anyway. I was sad to see this relic of the past. Hopefully this service returns soon.
Seems like it's just a delay in cleaning the airplane, so they're thinking they can make it up in flight. No problem.
We used our extra time to grab some water. I can remember a time when there would have been a line to use this to let people know on the mainland that we might be delayed. Our flight was full, but the gate area next to us was completely empty, which made it easy to check out this beautiful 777 parked next to our gate area. Remember when everyone said they hated this livery? I did too, but I was wrong. It's gorgeous. And sure enough, the board in the gate area soon changed, the app updated, and we joined the line to get on board. We entered this unusual 212 configured first-class cabin. If you're a solo traveler, you can't do better than these middle seats, which give you uninterrupted access to the aisle. But if you're a couple like us, the seats on the windows are best. Our seats, 3A and B, were looking great for the flight. United Airlines provides an amenity kit, a blanket, and a pillow. I think the stain was a bonus just for me. Don't count on getting one yourself. The seat includes a very generous Inflight Entertainment screen available in any number of languages. With some effort, I got it back to English. There's a shelf for your sundries here just below the screen. Seat adjustments galore to get comfortable after takeoff. There's a spot to store magazines just beside the remote control. And the best part of any in-flight magazine? It's the fleet information. There was plenty of space for carry-on bags in the bins overhead, and my large, overstuffed backpack had no problem fitting down here. There's a universal power socket, headphone plug, and USB power source back here. There's only one problem, though.
This is a great seat. There's only one thing that's a bit of a challenge, and it's back here. Let me show you.
Reaching back to actually use it requires some pretty aggressive contortion.
Certified first world problems.
Flight 344 to double skylight, just a few more minutes. Once you're airborne, 8 hours and 50 minutes. Look, you're all set. Let's get underway. Thank you so much for joining us, team. Welcome over.
The amenity kit is basic, but I'm very grateful for it, particularly the dental kit, a welcome addition on any long flight. And the island-inspired eye shade is awesome. That's going to be traveling with me for the foreseeable future.
I'm on island time right now. I don't need to be on Eastern time.
The jet bridge pulled away, and we pushed back. According to the app, we were about 10 minutes late leaving, but our arrival into Dulles would not be impacted too much. As we taxied out, Suzanne pointed out that United's famous Channel 9 was working. This was very exciting. Channel 9 is a feature unique to United in which passengers are able to listen to the radio communication between our flight deck crew and air traffic control. How great is that? Now, not every pilot turns it on, so it was a real bonus for this trip. We expeditiously made our way out to the reef runway. This was the first time I got it right. And by that, I mean sitting on the left side of the aircraft for an easterly departure out of Oahu. That all but guarantees fantastic views of Waikiki and, even more impressively, Diamondhead. I'd been listening to Channel 9 the whole time, and as the radio communication became less frequent, I decided to check out the United movie selections. There were plenty of options. Tom Hanks' classic Big would do the trick for me. And the map feature was excellent too. Internet was available, and while it was not that fast, you have to admit, it's crazy to think internet's available at all over the Pacific Ocean. At 10,000 feet, I pulled out the standard tray table and our flight attendant brought around some water. We reached our cruising altitude of 35,000 feet and the pilots turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. Dinner soon arrived on a single tray. It was chicken katsu curry and was pretty tasty. There's no separate drink service on this route, so my gin and tonic arrived on the tray too. The tray was full. There were nuts, a salad, the main course, and even dessert. Suzanne has a special place in her heart for United Catering, so she was very happy with this. And you'll be hearing no complaints from me about the flavor. Dinner is the only meal service on this 9-hour flight. There's no breakfast, so savvy travelers will either pack a snack or save their bread roll for something to eat just before landing. The setting sun made for a stunning sky and was also a signal to try out the fully flat bed. By the way, the bathroom was clean and well stocked. I laid my bed flat and hit the hay. The bed's a bit narrow and the footwell is particularly tight, but let's face it, it's a lie-flat seat, so that's pretty much something to appreciate. And about 5.5 hours later, I was up and ready for my makeshift breakfast. I turned back to Channel 9 and saw we were making good progress. We began our initial approach soon, and the radios were active as our flight deck crew worked with air traffic control to ensure our safe arrival into Washington, D.C. Now, our purser did bring around coffee, but as I mentioned earlier, there was no food available for breakfast. Do you think United should serve a second meal on this nearly 9-hour flight? Let us know in the comments below. It's time for the JebScore. This unscientific and somewhat facetious methodology to rate my experiences on flights is born from a desire to categorize. For more, check out greenergrass.com/JebScore. We'll look at 5 factors: the lounge, the seat, the food, the in-flight entertainment, and the service. And we'll rate each one on a scale of 0 to 5. First, the lounge. Well, it's not really fair to include it here because unless you're willing to pay up, you don't get to go in. So even though it's a nice lounge with a really warm and welcoming staff, it's worth 0 stars. Is that harsh? You bet. But that's just how the cookie crumbles. It really is too bad because it's so nice. The seat is quite nice and earned the same score as it has in the past with 4 stars. The food was okay, but not offering anything for breakfast is a real negative for me. Suzanne preferred to sleep, so the lack of a second meal did not bother her, especially since our arrival was at 3 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. That said, American and Delta provided second meal service in their premium cabins on longer Hawaiian flights, so this is weak sauce in my opinion. The food earns 3 stars. The IFE was great, and with industry-leading addition of Channel 9, which is not turned on by all crews, it's a solid 4-star system. Finally, the service was nice. The crew were friendly and clearly ready for the airline to return to full service. Our purser went out of her way to apologize for having to deliver food covered on a single tray. This is 5-star service. So that leaves United Airlines service from Honolulu to Dulles on the 767-400 with 16 out of a possible 25 stars. Overall, this was a great way to get to the East Coast from Hawaii. And because Dulles is right in the middle of the mid-Atlantic, most passengers heading to East Coast destinations are within an easy flight of their final stop. It felt fantastic to be back on board a long-haul flight and really whet my appetite for more. So much so, in fact, that I'm heading to Europe soon. Keep an eye on Instagram, Twitter, and here on YouTube for details.
Between now and the next time, see you in the sky.